So the final reveal of our Scotty Cameron refurb is right here, but you can't see it yet.
Be the right club today. Yes!
What's going on, guys? G2 here with 3-Putt Bogey. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to reveal the final look of our Scotty Cameron Futura 5CB mallet putter refinish. Now, if you saw the first video, you're up to speed. If you haven't, check it out right here before you go even further, because you're going to need to know what we've done to get to where we are, because there's two really kind of big steps, really, up to this point. In this video, we are going to be showing you the final Cerakote, and then we're going to go into how you can do the paint filling yourself and any customization yourself in terms of colors, paint fill, the Scotty dots, the bullet backs, all of that stuff. We're doing it all. Now, you may be asking yourself before we get into this, I should just send it off to somebody, have them do it for me. That's totally fine, and you can totally do that. I am showing you a way faster and economic way to get the same results, faster and cheaper. That's all there is to it. You send this out. I tried. Believe me, if you don't think I tried, I tried. That was my first step, is I wanted to be totally hands-off on this. I didn't want to touch it. I was getting turnaround times of 8 to 16 weeks fully completed. It's ridiculous. Prices, $400, $450, $500. Some people even said they couldn't do it because the Scotty Cameron I had some aluminum and some steel, and they couldn't paint both of them the same. The colors wouldn't match. Not exactly true, because you'll see it worked out fine. Keep that in mind. You can ship this out. You can have someone do it. You can pay $500. You can wait 3 to 4 months for it, or you can do it the way we did it. It'll cost you about $100, and then you'll have it in your hands ready to paint fill inside of 2 weeks, and it'll be ready to play at 3 weeks max. So just to recap here, we had our sandblasting done by K&J Refinishing. Cost me $25. Now, our Cerakote was done for $45 from Kraken Arms, a local Cerakote professional by me. And you can see they did exactly what we wanted. The sole plate was done in that perplexed purple. The body and the top plate were done in the armor black with a low sheen finish. So the next thing we have to do is we got to paint fill this guy, and I'm going to show you how to do it. I use these Testors paints. I think they're the best in terms of this. The pens, not a fan of the pens, and you're just going to give it a little dip into the paint, and you'll see you have just a little bit on there, and then you're going to put it where you want. The morning, and I just had 2 cups of coffee, so I got a little bit of the shakes going on, and then we just fill it in like so. I don't like to over paint these, so I'll just use a little bit, and if I have to come back later after it dries and just touch it up, add more, then I do that. So for the Futura here, we're going to do the same thing, same process. There's nothing too complicated about this. With these letters, they're a little more shallow, so we won't need as much paint, but we can overfill it, and I'll show you how to easily clean it up. One of my tips for this is if you're going to do multiple colors like I've done, do them in stages. Don't do all of the colors at the same time, especially if you're doing white. You want to save, I didn't in this case, but you want to save white to the last because when you're cleaning, it's going to smear. And if you have a darker color and you smear it into the white, your white is ruined. And just kind of take your time with this. These Testors paints dry pretty quickly. I ideally like to let them go for like 4 or 5 hours just to make sure that they're fully hardened. And it just helps the cleanup part of this as well, because you're not taking any paint really off of your fill. Again, it's okay if you go out of the lines. The cleanup is going to take care of that. All right, so that is done. So we're just going to let this dry. It's going to take anywhere from, like I said, however long you want to give it. I'm going to give it a full 4 hours to dry. Don't do it in the garage. Bring it out into the house where it's warm, especially if it's cold this time of year. You want this at room temperature. It's going to cure evenly. It's not going to be sticky. And just let it be. Alrighty, so now we are on to cleanup. And cleanup is pretty easy. So what I use is Q-tips. For something like this, you know, when you're doing detail work, some people like to put acetone on a thing and wipe. Again, if you're doing one color, that's fine. You won't have to worry about any kind of transfer from one to another. But when you're doing individual colors, you want to be as precise as possible. So I use a Q-tip, and I will basically just tighten up the fibers of the Q-tip so they're not hanging or anything like that. Now my acetone in this little thing, I got it on Amazon. It's $9. It holds it in there. It doesn't evaporate, and you just simply press up here, and we'll pump that acetone to the top. And I will use my Q-tip to absorb some of that. And then I will use my towel or whatever I have down here to take some of it off. We don't want a ton. So we are going to do like the CB right here. Now you don't press hard. This is just a light press. Now I have white right here. So I have to be careful and just gently press this black off. But just very light swipes. You're getting most of it off. You can see it's not a ton that we're dealing with here. I'm going to put a little bit more on, dab that off, and then we're going to lightly swipe. Now, I like using Q-tips because you can obviously turn them to clean spots, right? If you're using a towel and you just wipe it, you're going to continue to transfer that black off. All right, so now that we have gone through, cleaned everything up with the Q-tips, you can see this is pretty clean. There's some residue still around this. So what I do is, this is the only time where I will use a wipe method. And I have my towel right here. We'll put some acetone on it. And we are just going to do a very light wipe over everything. It's just, we're getting the residue. That's all. And that's it. And then we've got our little marker here in the front. Well, we'll add it. We'll just make sure that any other spots we may have are cleaned up. Now, the great thing about when you use Cerakote to coat your surfaces is acetone does not mess with it, right? If this has been paint or spray paint, that stuff's coming right off. But the acetone, it's fine. And this is coming out pretty good. All right, so now we're going to move on to the button back. And we're going to do something, like I said earlier, a little different than anything I've ever seen. This particular model of Scotty has the smaller dots button backs as opposed to like a Newport 2. They're a little bit larger. Typically when you see these, they come in the Scotty Cameron red. People like to change the colors on them. You know, we could have done a black, a green, a red, something like that. But I wanted to change it up. And this is not going to be for everyone. I'm just fair warning. This may not be your style, but just think out of the box, I guess, is the whole way that we're going with this. You can use, and we have used in the past, bullet casings, right? You've seen those. Everyone's done that. It's not that it's played out, but it's pretty common. You can get a bullet casing. You just need to know the measurement. This particular space that we have is 6 millimeters. So we needed to find something that was 6 millimeters that would fit in here and also go with our, Joker theme. And like I said, This is not going to be for everyone. So what I purchased were 3 emerald Swarovski crystals. And they are going to sit. They were cut and ground to exactly 6 millimeters. So they fit perfect. And they are going to go right in the back of here. And we're going to just put them on with a little bit of epoxy. This is the only time I would ever say if you're doing something like this, you can go with the good old 5-minute Gorilla Glue epoxy. So let's go ahead, mix up our epoxy, and get these in. And these particular crystals are flat. Like I said, they're flat on the back. So they will sit flush to the back of the button back. And we're going to do all 3 the same. I was debating doing different colors, but I just don't, even if we were doing a paint fill, I don't like the way that looks. It's just a personal preference. Okay, so we got 1 in. We'll set them, like fully set them once we have them placed in. You know from the channel, best way to clean up epoxy is either use grip solvent, which I'm not sure I want to use here, or just some isopropyl alcohol. And like I said, not for everybody. I can understand that, but that doesn't mean that you can't think of something else or another way to do this. It just makes yours a little bit different than everyone else's, and that is what I'm going for. I hate having the same stuff as everybody else, and chances are no one is going to have this. So that's kind of what we're looking at in the back. Assembly time. So these Allen wrenches are 5/64 or 2 millimeters. I bring both just in case they're not quite as tight as I want them to be. I go ahead, and when you take these putters apart, you'll see that there was, Scotty Cameron put some kind of vibration elements in here. So metal to metal contact, you didn't get any potential rattling. We did the same thing. It's basically this contact tape from 3M. You can see it's spongy, extremely sticky, and it just does the job. So we've got those in place. So we'll take the other half of the double-sided tape off of this one. This piece is going to basically sit right in there, like so. Good. And you can see it just holds it in there, and it keeps everything from vibrating around. That's the whole purpose of it. As long as you get your assembly screws on tight, it's going to be fine. But this is just a little extra precaution that I like to do. So the last thing you want to do is go through all this trouble, go to put it, and it gets a nasty vibration, and there's nothing you can do about it except take it apart and put this stuff in anyway. So we've got that set up. Got that. This is going to go in here. We're going to try to go one-time shot, get everything stuck. Okay, and we're good. Now we have 2 small screws. There's 1, there's 2. They go underneath the weights. We're not going to go super tight with this stuff just in the beginning because, again, we don't want to strip these screws. We just want to get them seated. At first, we'll get them snug, but not tight. And with that one in, we're going to check these 2. We're going to check our front line. And you can see there's no gaps or anything like that from the paint or the tape. It's nice and clean. Because we have that contact tape in there, I am going to set these snug, and then I'm going to allow that compression to take place over the next, however long it takes for the shaft to come in the next day or 2. And I'm basically going to slowly torque these over the next couple days just to make sure that tape that we put in is making good contact and that we don't have any of these screws backing out on us. You could always use a thread locker. I'm always a little bit hesitant to use that stuff on these. They're not going to come out. This isn't a firearm or anything like that where there's a tremendous amount of vibration. But if you wanted to go for it and do something, use a mild thread locker like a blue, go for it. Don't use the red. The red is high temperature. Go with a blue. A little heat with the torch will free that up, no problem. All right, so while we wait for the shaft to get in, just to give you the heads up, we ordered a KBS CT Tour 120 gram putter shaft in matte black. Now, the original one that was on here was the exact same shaft, but it was in the gloss black finish. I wanted to go with the matte black just to match the matte black of the putter. So we'll have that here in a second. And then for the grip, we're going to use this is the grip that I use on everything, just a different color, Super Stroke Pistol GT in the purple and white. Purple matches the theme, obviously. So what we want to look at now is I had 3 options made for the weights, and I haven't decided which one I'm going to go with yet. So I wanted to show you all 3 of those options. They were all done by me, paint filled using the same method that I showed you earlier. And this is what they look like. So the first option here is a black weight with a green and white accent. The second option here is a white weight with a green accent. And then finally, the third option here is a gold weight with kind of that Scotty Cameron red accent put into it. The shaft was installed, same length. You guys watch the videos on the channel. You know how to install a shaft. Same thing with the grip. No need to go through all of that. The grip does have the weight port in the back. Right now there is no weight. That's not typically how I set it up. Again, the KBS CT Tour in the matte black, which basically matches the matte black of the putter head. You can see here you've got those Swarovski crystals inset. Now those crystals, like I said, were exactly 6 millimeters, which is exactly the same diameter of those button back holes. They actually fit in with a nice click on top of being epoxy. They're not going to go anywhere. I can pretty much assure myself of that. We did the top line here in white just to make it kind of pop and stand out. After all, at the end of the day, we still have to putt with this thing, so we want to make sure that we can make sure we're on alignment. The front here, again, the face is milled. It was milled originally, so we didn't have any of that redone. The Titleist here was done in the black. And you can see the Cerakoting looks really nice on this thing. When you look down at it, you really don't see any color. When you're putting, the most you may see is a little bit of the face. That's about it. But other than that, it has a very clean look down on it. And then, I mean, obviously the showcase here is the back or the sole plate. And I still haven't decided which weights I'm going to put in. I mean, I have 3 options. They're all the same. It doesn't matter. I guess it's going to be like a whatever I feel like. The weights were super cheap. They're not Scotty Cameron weights, with the exception of the ones that came with the putter. On Amazon, you can get a set for $15. They come in silver, they come in black, they come in white, they come in gold. Yeah, this is it. And guys, I have to say, I am happy for it, and I totally understand. Like, this may not be for everyone. The color scheme may not be for everyone. But at the end of the day, it's not the point. The point is that you can do this by outsourcing elements of the project fairly cheap. If we look at what I was all in for this putter, we were $35 for the sandblasting, $45 for the Cerakoting. Yes, I did have to buy the Cerakote, so that was $70 for me to buy that. If you get lucky and they have the colors that you want, that's an expense you're not going to have to go into. The Swarovski crystals, a little bit over the top at $20 each. I understand you don't have to do that. You could just do paint. and you'll be totally fine. The tester paints to do the paint fill, they're $1.95 each at your local hobby store. So $150, and the putter is done. You outsource this to someone, they're going to charge you $500 for this, especially when you do multiple colors on the bottom. And that didn't cost us anything. That was our labor that we did. I added a little extra. The shaft was $60. The grip was $25. So that's, you could have used your old shaft and your old grip, but if you're doing a new putter, why wouldn't you just buy something new? Now I'm looking for a head cover, obviously, to go within the Joker theme. I found a couple. Not sure which one I'm going to go with yet. All in all, I'm pretty happy with it. You guys let me know what you think. If it's something that you would probably do, if you've considered doing. It's not as hard as you think. And there's some really, really great inspirational ideas out there in terms of color schemes and all of that stuff. The Joker just kind of stuck with me on this one. I don't know. I guess maybe because it was all black before. Its nickname then was Vader, after Darth Vader, but now he's the Joker. So I guess I like villains. That must be it. So until next time, make sure that you swing as hard as you can, just in case you hit the ball. G2 out.